judges that Loretta has collected here in Newcastle to do this judging, and also a very exciting moment. And I won't take too long to hold you in too much suspense about the winner, and I'm assuming that everyone's had a good look around and decided who might be the winner. And every year it's always a really nice surprise for me, and this year is no different. So without further ado, I will get the envelope. Well, it's very fancy this year, I'll show you all. So it's my understanding the winner is an Australian artist that's actually very well known and quite prolific, but has never won a prize before. So all of you in the room that are way smarter than me at this, your minds are ticking over. So without further ado, the winner of the Kilgor Prize for 2019 is...
Ready to clap?
Black Douglas.
Look, Bubby, it's Uncle Art's won. He's the winner.
Oh, we are not the winner.
He's our family. If he wins, we win, Bub.
I'm astounded, honestly. I mean, look at the colour in this room. It's definitely the strongest exhibition I've ever been involved in. And I'd like to pay it's a blind judging. Like, no one would recognise David Fairburn. And I can look them. But it's just tremendous to be here. And I will just make one little correction. I did win when I first began, which was 20 years ago. And it was an Emerging Aboriginal Arts Award, which was then the most prestigious art prize in New South Wales, which was called the Milk Prize, which ran out of Fistula. And so I did win that one to begin, but it's been pushing that ball up the hill. Being a visitor here, I'd naturally like to begin with my humble offering of acknowledgement to the Awabakal and Warramai ancestors, elders, and current custodians of country on which we stand. Lord Mayor, councillors, judges, gallery staff and volunteers who are doing a fantastic job on that bar, aren't they? Dear supporting friends and relatives, fellow artists, of course, assembled guests and reincarnated little beings of divinity. This is an immeasurably historic moment for my people, and for what has just been mentioned, it's the first one in a long time, and a big one, to win this prize, you know. So, having such a grand stage, I think it's apt to dedicate this carefully. And I'm going to dedicate my award to the following peoples. My removed Dunghutti grandmother, Clarine Mortham, and great-grandmother, Sissy Drew. My mother and father, Yvonne and Robert Hill. And the late great artist and soul brother, Chico Monks. Each of whom have sadly passed.
That's Chico.
Noting that the great painter Nicholas Harding was the first recipient of the prize, I reflect upon the time I witnessed Nicholas win the 2001 Archibald Prize. This is trying to just to put it into reality, you know. A member of the media pack asked Nicholas, how does it feel to win 80k? It was then 80k. Nicholas replied, mate, I've been entering this prize for 17 years now, and if you were to add up the entry fees, materials, transport, I'd probably have enough to buy you and me a beer. When I saw that humbled things for me and made me kind of get rid of my sour grapes. I believe most of us can relate to that, fellow artists. An acknowledgement to Jack and Nancy Kilgor. One cannot simply run off an award of this prestige without paying dues to the bequest that enables it to continue. What a legacy it is when an artist lays the stones that create the pathway for us to walk upon. To Jack and Nancy. Ms. Ursula Jovic should be a household name. She's a living hero of mine and a dear friend. Raised in Darwin, her father, Slobodan Jovic, was a Serbian immigrant whose anglicised name became Stan Jovic. Her mother from northwestern Arnhem near the Blythe River, the closest community being Maningrida. Ursula has appeared in more than 20 theatre and musical theatre productions, including Capricornia, Mother Courage and Her Children, The Sapphires, Natural Life, Nailed, The Sunshine Club, Jerry Springer and the Opera, Nathaniel Storm and the Adventures of Snugglepot and Cuddlepie, and Little Ragged Blossom. Ursula's other screen and TV appearances are equally noteworthy, as you would agree. Top End Wedding, Goldstone, The Code, Gods of Weed Street, Rake, Around the Block, Redfern Now, Devil Dust, Australia. Remember that one, the comedy dressed up as a tragedy? And Jindabyne, one of my favourite films of hers. Judges, Newcastle Art Gallery Director Loretta Morton, Campbelltown Arts Centre Director Michael D'Agostino, and great artist John Catapan. And especially to Loretta and Lisa Kirkpatrick for the heart-stopping phone call. Your astute selection of this piece is complimentary of the change. It's complimentary of this is a serious moment now. That's where we're starting to get heavy now. Complimentary of the change that I've personally been dreaming of for 20 years now. Not just personally to win a major art prize, but it's for recognition of Indigenous voice. And I've seen within my 20 years of painting politicised artworks about how the Commonwealth affects our people, I've seen exponential change, and I'm very thankful for that. Next year marks the 250th anniversary of the great cartographer and navigator Lieutenant James Cook's voyage to the continent of 300 Indigenous countries.
Where's Kai?
Quite probably there'll be no mad rush to add bronze statues of a local frontier resistance warrior to parks and reserves en masse next year. Nor to add the correct tribal names to municipality signage within every city and town across the continent. It's time we married our fascination with local Aboriginal histories and legends with our bona fide fascination for patriotism and sport. Do you agree? Here in this portrait, we'll celebrate a figurative memorial, a monument of what has historically proven to be the most disenfranchised voice on the continent, that of the Aboriginal female. The very individual who is actually, physically, our mother. There's no stronger metaphor here. Ursula stands upon a chair in an unconsciously righteous pose. If you want to be heard, then stand up and be counted, like Rumpy Band sang. By the way, I specifically painted in ochres in this piece, and it's an homage to the old ways. My trademark cracked earth at the base represents the ever-increasing desert upon this continent, and the vapour trails in the sky form hashtag in all my current pieces, effectively labelling this piece hashtag Queen of Her Own Stage. Oh, and I've already created the Instagram for that, so just add to it. I'd like you to look at this piece, photograph it, reproduce it, but not on tea towels. Print it out and stick it on your fridge or in your studio or office or in your pool room. In fact, there's no need for that, because as a gift to you all for being here tonight and receiving this award, I've printed this in a decal which awaits you in the information desk. I must say, and it's signed.
Wow, Uncle Ab's a legend.
Interruptions at the bar. Now, I'm hoping there's enough. I didn't expect such a bumper turnout. I mean, honestly, this is like 3 times the size of a One Nation election party, isn't it? So, should they run out, and one per person, don't be greedy now, one per person, should they run out, you might have to come back tomorrow for the artist talks, because there'll be another batch there. Queen of Her Own Stage is your monument, your goddess, your bonnet emblem, and you're reminded that we should by now be grown up enough to raise our hand and demand constitutional reform and a treaty for all Indigenous peoples on this continent. And I say this colloquially as I'm wearing Queen Elizabeth's stamped shirt here. And just perhaps remove the training wheels and become an upright, responsible republic. What do you reckon? In closing, I'd like to add a note to all my fellow entrants tonight. Many of whom are great entrepreneurs in their own right, understandably. As a veteran of 2 decades of art making and entering the world, I know only too well what it's like to stand there with your heart in your throat, anticipating. Our visual diaries are where our dreams manifest. The more content we add, the quicker the dreams shall burst free into the artistic ether. To stand proud, especially for our emerging artists, persevere, please. It is with sincere thanks and unfathomable honour that I've received this prize. Thank you, Newcastle Art Gallery and Council, judges, affiliated sponsors, and also to my representatives in New South Wales, Julian Edwards of Jeffer Gallery and Simon Chan of Art Atrium, and sponsors Colourmaker Industries Permaplastic Paints and 3M Australia. Thank you so much.